My husband's best friend is pregnant and she's claiming the baby's his. The unraveling of trust, a tale of betrayal, doubt, and self-discovery. I've always believed in the strength of my marriage. For 4 years, Jason and I had shared a life filled with love, trust, and mutual respect. Our cozy home echoed with laughter, the walls adorned with pictures of our travels and milestones. Jason, with his infectious smile and warm hazel eyes, had swept me off my feet from the very beginning. He was a man of grand gestures, lavish gifts, surprise romantic getaways, and a never-ending stream of heartfelt compliments and reassurances. He had an uncanny ability to make me feel cherished and secure, the center of his universe. But everything began to change subtly, like a creeping shadow that gradually consumed the sunlight. The shift coincided with Jason's introduction of his best friend, Laura, into our lives. Laura, a vivacious redhead with an alluring smile and an easy charm, seemed harmless enough initially. However, a gnawing unease settled in the pit of my stomach, a feeling I couldn't quite shake off. It all started when I discovered Jason had been spending an inordinate amount of time with Laura, often under the guise of working overtime. A chance encounter with a mutual friend revealed that Jason and Laura had been seen together during these supposed work hours, laughing and enjoying each other's company. My heart pounded in my chest, a mixture of fear and betrayal flooding my veins. When confronted, Jason was quick to produce seemingly innocent text messages between him and Laura, full of casual banter and platonic affection. While a part of me desperately wanted to believe him, the seeds of doubt had already been sown. The first time I met Laura, she was disarmingly pleasant. She spoke of Jason with admiration, calling him a catch and telling me how lucky I was to have him. I tried to reciprocate her warmth, but a persistent unease lingered. The dinner celebrating Laura's mother's anniversary was a turning point. The moment we arrived, Laura clung to Jason, leaving me feeling like a third wheel. In the kitchen, Laura's mother, a kind and gentle woman, was a comforting presence amidst the growing tension. However, dinner proved to be a minefield of discomfort. Laura insisted on sitting next to Jason, demanding that I move. Jason, instead of defending me, sided with her, accusing me of being childish and overreacting. My eyes welled up with tears as I quietly moved to a different seat. The evening deteriorated further when Laura made a snide comment about my food choices, implying that I was being overly health-conscious. A wave of humiliation washed over me as Jason chuckled at her remark. I felt like an outsider in my own marriage, a spectator to a growing intimacy between my husband and his best friend. Seeking solace, I called my dad. As I recounted the evening's events, my voice trembled with emotion. Dad, ever the voice of reason, tried to reassure me that I might be overreacting, that it was just a harmless dinner. But even he couldn't deny the strangeness of the situation. He gently suggested that I come and stay with him for a few days, a safe haven away from the mounting tension. I gratefully accepted his offer. Upon returning home to pack a few essentials, my phone buzzed incessantly with messages from both Jason and Laura. Jason accused me of ruining the dinner with my jealousy and declared he was spending the night at Laura's. Laura, in her messages, unleashed a barrage of insults, calling me insecure and pathetic. The next day, Jason returned home around 5 p.m., a nonchalant air about him. When I confronted him about leaving me alone and spending the night at another woman's house, he exploded, accusing me of being crazy and jealous. He insisted that Laura was just a friend and that I needed to get my emotions in check. For the next month, an uneasy truce settled over our household. Jason's demeanor had grown cold and distant, a stark contrast to the affectionate and attentive husband I once knew. I felt a chasm widening between us, a chasm filled with unspoken secrets and simmering resentment. Then this morning, I received the message that shattered my world. Laura, in a twisted display of cruelty, sent me a picture of a positive pregnancy test. Her accompanying message was filled with venomous glee, taunting me to divorce Jason because the baby was his. I felt my knees buckle as I sank to the floor, the phone slipping from my grasp. My mind raced, a whirlwind of confusion, hurt, and disbelief. How could Jason betray me like this? Had our love meant so little to him? I knew I had to confront Jason, but the thought of hearing the truth terrified me. Was I strong enough to handle the confirmation of my worst fears? Yet a small, defiant voice within me insisted on knowing the truth, no matter how painful it might be. When Jason arrived home the evening, his face was etched with worry. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation. "Jason, we need to talk. Laura sent me something today," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. His face paled, his eyes darting nervously. "What did she send you?" he asked, his voice laced with trepidation. "A pregnancy test." She claims the baby is yours, I replied, my voice shaking. The color drained from Jason's face, and he collapsed onto the sofa, burying his face in his hands. A heavy silence hung in the air, the tension so thick it was almost palpable. After what seemed like an eternity, Jason looked up, tears streaming down his face. Sophia, I don't know what to say. I made a terrible mistake. My heart sank, a leaden weight in my chest. So it's true? You slept with her? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He nodded, his shoulders slumped in defeat. It happened once. I was confused, and I made a horrible mistake. But I love you, Sophia. I don't want to lose you. A surge of anger and betrayal washed over me, replacing the numbness that had enveloped me moments before. You should have thought about that before you betrayed me. I spat out, my voice raw with emotion. How can I ever trust you again? Jason reached out to me, but I recoiled from his touch. I'll do anything to make it right, he pleaded. I'll go to counseling. I'll cut ties with Laura. Please just give me a chance. I looked at him, my heart aching with a mixture of love, anger, and betrayal. Jason, you've broken my heart. I need time to think. I need space. I packed a bag, my hands trembling as I folded clothes and gathered toiletries. I left without a word, seeking refuge at my dad's house. For days, I isolated myself, grappling with the emotional turmoil that had engulfed me. The love I once felt for Jason was now a distant memory, tainted by his betrayal. I couldn't bear to be in the same house as him, couldn't bear to look at him without feeling a fresh wave of pain and anger. In the end, after countless sleepless nights and tear-filled days, I realized that I couldn't continue living a lie. I couldn't stay in a marriage that had been built on a foundation of deceit. With a heavy heart, I filed for divorce, taking the first step towards reclaiming my life and my happiness. The road to healing was long and arduous. There were days when I wanted nothing more than to crawl back into bed and shut out the world, but with the unwavering support of my dad, my friends, and a therapist who helped me navigate the complex maze of emotions, I gradually started to rebuild my life. I focused on my career, rediscovering the passion that had once fueled my ambition. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones, finding solace in their companionship and understanding. I learned to love myself again, to value my worth, and to never settle for less than I deserved. It wasn't easy, but I emerged from the wreckage of my marriage stronger and more resilient than ever before. I learned that trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild, but I also learned that it's possible to love again, to open my heart to the possibility